Namaste, children. Once again, we will be seeing the chapter at a glance. Characteristics of living things. All living things needs food. All living things need food. Food is the source of energy. Now, living things grow. Living things respire. Both plants and animals do respiration. During respiration, oxygen is used and carbon dioxide is released. Living things respond to stimuli. Insects like cockroach move away from light. Some insects are attracted by light. Irritability. Immediate response to a stimulus is called as irritability. Response to environment is stimulus. Anything in the environment that causes a reaction from an organism. Response is automatic reaction to a stimulus. Behavior, learned or inherited response to a stimulus. Plants to respond to light, like water lily blooms at night, lotus blooms in daylight. Leaves of a touch me not plant responds when touched. Living things made up of by one or more cells. The cell is the basic structural and functional unit of all life. Some organisms are made up of by only single cell, which are called as unicellular organisms. Some are having many cells, which are known as multicellular. Unicellular organisms example is bacteria, whereas multicellular organisms are animals and plants. Sense and respond to change is nothing but stimuli in their environment. Stimuli, factors in the environment that living things react to are examples like temperature, sound, etc. Organisms react in order to maintain homeostasis. There are two types of reproduction. One is sexual. To sex cells require sperm and egg. Asexual, only one parent cell is needed. We have universal genetic code, RNA and DNA. This is the chemical life of living things. All living things have chemicals of life. Long molecules that contain genetic information is the chemical life passed from one generation to the next. They uses energy to survive. There are two types of living organisms, that is autotrophs produce or producers. These living organisms get energy from the sun, whereas heterotrophs are also known as consumers, get energy by consuming other organisms. Growth and development. Cell division for growth occurs in living organisms. Development through cell is a specialization. The picture shows, for example, if you consider the smallest unit of living cell is the atom. Atom forms a molecule. In the biosphere, living organisms forms the ecosystem, or it forms molecule is equivalent to cell. Cell is forming tissue. Tissue is organ. Organ is body system. Body system forms organism. Organism forms population. Population leads to the community. Community to the ecosystem, and that leads to the biosphere. This is all a cyclic chemical cycle in the growth and development of an organism. Energy flow in the ecosystem. Sun is the main source of inorganic chemicals like carbon dioxide. Water also helps in the survival of energy flow in the living organisms in the ecosystem. Now, sunlight is extracted by the producers in the form of solar energy and also from the non-living environment, that is decomposes or consumers that obtain nutrients from dead organisms and organic waste which is taken up by from the soil. by the producers and produces food in the form of glucose. Some energy is lost to the ecosystem. Some energy is taken up by the consumers, which is stored in the form of starch. This energy and nutrients by eating the producers whatever produced in those organisms and gets energy. After that, the decomposes, which takes their food organisms that obtain nutrients from dead organisms and organic waste. In this, the energy flow is connected in the ecosystem. So, first main source is solar energy. Solar energy is taken up by the producers as well. The nutrients which are from the organic matter wastes is also taken up from the soil. This is from the non-living environment, and from air, carbon dioxide and water vapor from air as well as water from the soil. It absorbs and produces, the plants produces glucose and gets their energy and stores in the form of starch, which is taken up by the consumers, and these nutrients after eating they get the energy, and after their death the decomposers will consume these dead and decaying organisms for the nutrients and leaves the organic matter in the soil. And in during this course some energy is lost to the ecosystem. Once again, basing on the use of energy from the environment or obtaining the energy from the environment, basically all the living things can be categorized into autotrophs and heterotrophs that can make their own food from its environment are called as autotrophs, whereas organisms that has obtained its energy from another organisms are called as dependent or heterotroph organisms. Spirogyra examples are green plants and the animals which gets their energy from eating other organisms. Now, in gist, what are the characteristics of living things? Movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, reproduction, excretion, and nutrition. About aquatic habitat. Aquatic habitat is of two kinds. One is saline water habitat, another one is freshwater habitat. Now, coming to the freshwater habitat and saline water, some kinds of fishes will be present. The body of the aquatic habitat animals will be streamlined, that is the shape of the body will be like a boat, so it will easily cut through the water and swims, and gills are present for the respiration, and body is protected by scales. But some animals which are present in the saline water, mammals like some animals like dolphins which are present in the saline water habitat animals, they will have their nostrils which are helping to breathe air from the atmosphere called blowholes. So water will be coming out like a fountain and air will be going into the animal body. Whereas completely in aquatic animals, gills are the main breathing. When the water is flowing through the gills, the dissolved oxygen will be absorbed by the gills. In such a way, the animals which are present in the water habitat will survive. For the respiratory purpose, oxygen will be getting from the dissolved oxygen which is present in the water. Now, coming to the water plants, some have roots fixed in the soil, some will be floating, some will be submerged. That is partially inside water like hanging plants, partially above it will be, which are rooted or fixed in the soil underwater is example Vallisneria. Hydrilla is submerged, and floating is when you consider the floating, and this lotus is also a floating leaves and flowers, but the roots will be rooted into the soil. Now in Vallisneria, the leaves will be ribbon-like in the shape and can bend in the water to prevent uprooting from the soil. Then since water is having water currents that is continuously flowing, and this creates a force in the water body, so the plants easily can be uprooted. To avoid that, to prevent that, what will happen? The leaves will be in the ribbon shape and they will be bent towards the soil again. Now, say, stem of the lotus is hollow. That means inside nothing will be present. Any material won't be present. It is like a tube, and it will be long and light in weight, and the leaves are disc shaped and wax coated, so that they will float on water. And this waxy coating prevent water stagnating on the leaf. If water is stagnant on the leaves or in the plant, what will happen? The foliage of the plant will be spoiled, and the leaves will be spoiled, and the plant will die. Hollow tubes will make the plant float in the water. Leaf stalk is filled with air, so that it will be easy to float on the water, helps in floating. Even in the next slide, what it is, water hyacinth will have some air filled leaf like structures down the leaf. Those are also called as, those are also helps in floating. That is water hyacinth, usually will be filled in the ponds and streams and lakes. Then animal adaptations in aquatic region. These are the penguins. They will have a strong webbed feet, which are helping in the swimming in the water, and they can breathe in the water and also on the land. For example, frog, the skin helps in breathing when it is in the water, and coming out of the water, lung breathing only frogs are. And webbed feet helps in swimming in the water. The strong back legs to take long leaps, that is hopping movement in the frog will be, and sticky tongue to catch the insects. So what frog is an amphibian. That means it can live on land as well as in the water also. Even penguins also can swim. It cannot fly up, so, and it can swim with the webbed feet, and it is one of the cold region bird, and they will be moving in the groups, and it catches fishes for the food. That time it will go into the water and it swims and catch the prey. Now, yesterday what we have seen, the terrestrial habitats, that is desert, how the roots will be spreading. Some roots are growing deep into the soil till water table to absorb water, and some roots will be growing horizontally in the top layers of the soil to collect surface water, and leaves will be turned into thorn like structures, and some are having some tuber like or bulb like structures to store the water. And these are all the different adaptations the desert plants will have. And leaves will be totally turned into thorns, and stem will be green and fleshy, which stores water in case of some other plants. And it stores even food also, and it prepares food by with the help of sunlight and by undergoing the process of photosynthesis. And some of the rats will be burrowing animals. During those are nocturnal. During night time they will come out of the burrow, and during daytime they will be inside the burrow and prevent from hot the body from the hot conditions. And they will be merging with the color, the body color will be, and fur will be very less, so that precipitation will be less in those animals. Now this is a grassland animal, the tiger, and lion, which is undergoing the camouflage, because here the grass will be, as I told, 7 to 8 feet long. So whenever it want to protect itself, it will merge with the surroundings and hide in the grass. So, and even it when it wants to catch the prey also, it hides without visible to the uh, prey. And then whenever it is spotting the prey, it jumps on it and catches the prey. Now coming to the characteristics of living things, there are mainly 7 characteristics, that is movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, reproduction, excretion, nutrition. We will be each one with the example. So, in the first, the movement, the action by an organism or a part of an organism causing a change of position is called as movement. That means displacing from one place to another place is movement, which is biologically called as locomotion. That is position change. So, suppose for example, you will be in the school at 8:45. You will be at home in the evening by 4 o'clock. This is movement of your body, that is displacing. The position is changing, which is known as locomotion. And we are having 2 legs, so bipedal, pedal, pedaling, cycling. We are saying pedaling with the legs moving. 2 legs are there, bipedal. Bi means 2. Whereas other animals are having four legs for walking. Usually the mammals will be only bipedal movement will be seen in the human beings. Respiration is so many chemical reactions will be taking place in inhaling and exhaling together is called as respiration, and it helps in breaking down the digested food material and converts it into energy in the form of adenosine triphosphate. Wherever this is released into the cells in the form of energy, whenever necessary, we will be using this energy for our metabolic activities. Sensitivity is nothing but ability to detect or sense the changes in the environment. This is called as stimulus, which is given to our body, and we can immediately give the response because of this characteristics of sensitivity. For example, when you are touching a hot plate, immediately you will be removing your hand. So here stimulus is the touching of a hot plate, and response is removing the hand immediately. Next, growth. See, a permanent increase in the size of or mass of a body by an increase in the cell number or cell size or both is called as growth. Now, a permanent increase in size and dry mass by an increase in cell number or cell size or both at a time is called as growth. Now, for example, when you are in the first class, whatever shirt you wore, can you wear now in class 6th? No, because you have grown. This is called as size and shape change in the living organism is nothing but the growth. Next, reproduction. Living organisms can reproduce. This is of 3 types. We can say directly giving birth, that is viviparous, and laying eggs is oviparous. By laying eggs and hatching, the pets are coming means that is viviparous. By laying eggs, reproduction. By directly giving birth to young ones, that animals will do viviparous. Some will lay eggs as well as excretion is removing extra which is not necessary for our body, which creates toxic, that is poisonous materials pooling up in the body due to metabolic activities. That removing out of the body and cells is called as excretion. Respiration is also one of the accessory excretory organ. How the carbon dioxide, which is toxic for our body, will be removed during respiratory process. And skin is one accessory because it is removing the extra minerals and excess of water in the form of sweat. And another one is excretory system. You know that kidneys are the main organs in the form of urine, and during digestive process also, the last process, that is egestion, the fecal matter will be thrown out through the anus, that is undigested, and toxic material will be thrown out in the form of nitrogenous waste. Now next is nutrition. Nutrition already this year you have studied in the second chapter, that is components of food. What are all the nutrients, how the digestion takes place. These nutrients are carbohydrates, proteins, minerals, vitamins, fats, which are containing all the raw materials which will be taken up by us, and also gives energy for the growth and tissue repair, that is absorbing and assimilation, in the small intestine. This is all called as the digestive system, and releasing energy together is nutrition and a balanced diet. Now, coming to what we have studied in the characteristic features of living organisms, once again we will be discussing in the next class also, that is movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, reproduction, excretion, and nutrition.